Where not to go. What would you like?
All right, so good morning. We are going to start this webinar for Gmail and Calendar. And this is to get us ready for the transition that will be happening in December, uh, around the time of the winter break. And we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable and has some general knowledge of these two applications and can use them for their their job or whatever position you are in. We want to make sure that you're able to use these tools. So you'll see that on the presentation on the first slide, we have the bit.ly. This is the link to this presentation. So if you would like a copy of this presentation, you can type this address into your web address bar and go to the presentation. And then once you are in the presentation, you can actually make a copy for yourself by going to File and make a copy. And this presentation will live in your Google Drive. You can name it whatever is most useful to you, or just leave it as a copy of Gmail and Calendar transition. You can choose what folder in your drive you want to store it in, and then go ahead and click OK. So you'll have a copy. This will be your copy. If I do make updates to the presentation, you won't see them in your copy. But if you ever do want to visit the link, I will keep this live for throughout the year. And you can always go to the link and get the updated version. I don't plan on making any updates anytime soon, so you'll be good. And then if you are attending this webinar, please make sure that you click on this link that says sign in here. You're going to click on the link below that, and it's going to take you to a form, and you're going to just click the submit button, and it will let us know that you are present during this webinar. Now, please make sure that you are signed into your rusdlearns.net account if you aren't already. So just take a few moments to make sure you are signed in, and that way we can move forward. Okay, so in case you don't know me, my name is Sylvia Yunuendiego, and I am an instructional technology technician with ILE. My information, my email, and my extension is on this slide. So if you do want to contact me with any questions or concerns that you may have regarding any information that I provide today, or any other questions about instructional technology or the use of Gmail or G Suite, you can contact me. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see 3 different links to resources that I highly encourage you to visit and bookmark and just go to as your first place or your first resource to answer any questions that you may have. There's a lot of good information that we're providing here. So the first one is the knowledge base. And this one is a site that our department created. And on the knowledge base, you will find numerous resources, one of them being a lot of how-tos for the G Suite. And you also have some information for first-time users, tips on Chromebooks, and lots more. So please explore that, check it out. And then here, I'll take you this way. You'll see that we have a link here for the Gmail and calendar transition site. And that is going to lead you to this page, which is also accessible through the knowledge base. And this is the Gmail transition page. And on this page, you'll find information about the transition itself. You'll see that we've listed a lot of training opportunities. And you can also visit either one of these links to get some how-to information for Gmail and calendar. And then there's more details about the transition there at the bottom. So definitely check that out if you need to refresh your memory on some of the things that I've shared with you. And then the third and very important resource is the G Suite Learning Center. And here you will find all of the how-tos for G Suite. This is a site created by Google, so you can pretty much find anything you need here. We have the ability to learn by product, so you can choose if you want to learn about Gmail. You will get tons of articles, tons of help, and then lots of different training available there. So definitely bookmark that and check it out whenever you have a question. So before we jump into the how-tos of Gmail and calendar, I do want to address just very quickly some of the most common questions that we get regarding this transition. The first one is, do I need to do anything for this transition? The answer is no, unless you are currently forwarding your @rusdlearns.net email to your rusd.k12 email. So you need to disable that forwarding before you leave for winter break. And then when you come back, everything will have transferred over to the new email. The exception is any folders that are stored in your computer or your or the server on your computer, and that are not actually folders in Outlook. And what I mean by that is they're usually called PST files. And one way to check if you have any of those is if you can view them on your Outlook on your desktop, but when you go to the online mail, the NIS mail, and you'll see the link here, if when you go there you don't see those folders there, then that means they're actually just living in your computer, but you can access them through your Outlook. So if you have files like that, those will need to be manually transferred over. You can put in a request to have us do that by submitting a work order. in the TechWorks page, work order page. So if you need more information about that, feel free to reach out. But do know that those are the files that will not, or those are the folders and files that will not be transferred over. Everything else will be. So, and then of course, if you're wondering about forwarding, don't worry. Your emails will be forwarded to the new email address at least through June 30th, if not for 1 to 2 years. We're monitoring the traffic with emails that are going to be coming into the old emails, and just based on that, we'll decide when to completely stop the forwarding, but it will be on for a while. And so you have time to change or update any public information you have, or any of your business cards or anything like that. And you can put your new email on there. The new email will be at riversideunified.org. So from now until the transition happens during the winter break time, you will continue using at rusdlearns.net. And to sign into Gmail or Google. After the transition, you'll use at riversideunified.org. It'll be your same inbox and everything, though. We're just changing the domain name. So, okay, I'm going to show you how to disable that forwarding very quickly. So I'm going to mail.google.com, which is my inbox. Okay. Sorry, it's taking a while to load. All right, so once I'm in my inbox, once you're in your inbox, you'll go to the settings wheel, then click on settings. Yeah, so we're having some issues connecting to Google right now, but just give it a few moments. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, that took a moment. All right, so once you are in your settings, you will go to the forwarding section, and you will make sure that the disable forwarding button is turned on. So disable forwarding, and then you'll scroll down and you'll click on the Save Changes button at the bottom of the page, and those changes will be saved and the forwarding will be disabled. Okay. And some other questions are regarding the use of Calendar. One of them is, do I need permission? Do I need to request permission for the calendars that I currently have once the transition happens? The answer is no, you do not. If you have access to calendars now in Outlook, once the transition happens, you will continue to have access to them in Google Calendar. And the other one is about resources and rooms and how they're added to use in Google Calendar. So do know that rooms can be added to events in Google Calendar, and these rooms will have they're going to function as resources, and they will have their own calendar. So that means when you're booking a room at your site, or if you work in one of the district offices, then you will have the ability to book on that calendar. And I'll show you a little bit more about how that's going to work. But do know that if you do need one added, you will need to submit a work order for this. And then how do you pin a conference room to a schedule for an event in Google Calendar? And that goes along with this question I just answered. The room must be added as a resource. So that's something that you can contact us about. And then can I change the theme of my Google Calendar? You'll see that the calendar is just bright white right now. And there's no option to change that at this time. And will all my folders move over in email? Yes, they will. So all of your folders in Outlook will be moved over to Gmail, and they will be labels in Gmail. Gmail does not have folders, and I will show you what that looks like and how that is going to work when we get into the Gmail portion of this training. And but just know that what I mentioned earlier, the folders that are your PST files, the folders that are not technically in your mail, but they live in your desktop, those will not be transferred, and those you will need to put a work order in for. And the last one is, our public calendars going to be migrated over to Gmail? Yes, they will be. And you will continue to have the same permissions on them. All right, so one thing I do want to mention is that you should be using the Chrome browser with the G Suite applications. It's going to be the most functional. It's going to work the best. So use it and just keep it updated. This is something that does not happen automatically, but for example, up here, I'm using the Chrome browser, and on the upper right-hand corner, it will tell me when Google needs an update. And then you just simply click on that, and then it updates for you. And to log into your account, I'm sure many of you guys know how to do this, but just in case you don't, you go to either drive.google.com or mail.google.com. You can even go to google.com and then go ahead and sign in. Some of you may be using a Chromebook, so that automatically prompts you to sign in to your Gmail account. So as I mentioned earlier, you will continue to log in with your at rusdlearns.net until the transition happens. After that, it's going to be at riversideunified.org, and it's going to continue to be the same. Like the first part of your email is going to be the same. So, all right. Okay, so when it comes to using the Chrome browser, you'll need to know that you have the ability to switch between Gmail accounts without having to sign in and sign out of them. And one way to do that is to create Chrome browser profiles. These also the profile will have all of your bookmarks, all of your extensions saved to it. So it will make your user experience a lot smoother, a lot more efficient. So what you do is you go up to your icon on the upper right-hand corner, and you want to make sure that you are syncing your Google Chrome browser to your at rusdlearns.net account. Now, if you have a personal Gmail account, or if you have any other like work email accounts that are Gmail accounts that you also use, then you want to keep them separate. So for example, I have access to our department's Google account. I have my personal Google account. And then, of course, I created these tests. But if I wanted to switch over to one of these accounts, what would happen is I would click on it, and then it would open up another window, and I would be able to sign in to a different Gmail account. And if I turned on syncing, then it would bring over all of those bookmarks and extensions and saved passwords and all of that to that window. And then I would be able to be on 2 separate Gmail accounts at the same time on the same computer. You want to make sure that you are always signed in to the account that's in your Chrome profile. So I'm signed into my account here, and I'm signed into it as well on the Chrome browser. So to add people, you would simply click on Manage People, and then you would add a person and add one of your accounts. So we highly recommend that profile creation in Google Chrome. And then if you do want to learn a little bit more about that, then go ahead and revisit these 2 slides. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the Gmail portion. So you want to make sure that you are signed in to your rusdlearns.net account. And then you want to make sure that you go to mail.google.com. You can also get to your mail by going to your apps. So you just click on your Gmail app and it takes you there. You can also create, when you're in your inbox, you can create a desktop shortcut. So you'll go up to the 3 dots. Right now it's a red arrow for me, but for you, it should be 3 dots. And then you'll go to More Tools. You'll go to Create Shortcut, and then you can create your own shortcut, My Mail, and create. And now you'll have access to clicking on it from your desktop, or it will show up in your applications. Okay, so now that you are in Mail, you will see. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a tour, and then I'll go into the how-tos. So if you're in your Mail, you'll see the Compose button up on the left-hand side, and this is where you can create new mail. You simply click on it, and you'll get a window. And whoa, some of the things aren't loading, or they're taking a while. There we go. Okay, so you have your you have your CC, your BCC, you have your subject, you have the ability to put your signature there, and you'll find that you can customize that in the settings, and I'll show you guys where later. But down here you have formatting options. There are not a lot of text size options, but we have these 4. And then you have the ability to to bold, italicize, underline, highlight, align, and then you have a lot of other formatting options there. And then at the bottom, you have your send button. You have the ability to schedule this email to be sent at a later time by clicking on the arrow. You have your the ability to insert Bitmojis, customize lookalike Bitmojis, and then you have the ability to attach files, links, other type of emojis, and then files from your drive. So these need to be already living in your drive. And remember that when you're sharing any document from your drive, you want to make sure that your permissions are set so that that person can open it when they receive it so that they can have access to it. You can also directly insert photos into your mail. And then you can turn confidential mode on or off, and then send and request money. That doesn't really work for us, but you do have more options with the 3 dots. When you click on the 3 dots, you'll see that can default to full screen. You have the ability here to create templates, which is one of my favorite parts about Gmail. You can type up an email, for example, this will be my template, and this is my template. And then I'm just going to erase this because I already know that my signature usually comes with the template. Actually, I should have not done that. I can undo. Yay. Okay. Yes, you have the ability to undo from your formatting options down here. So now I'm going to go to more options. I'm going to templates, and then I'm going to choose save draft as template, and then save as new template. And then I can just save it. Okay, great. So now if I go to more options and I go to templates, then it's already stored there. And then if I need to delete templates, then I can delete the template that I choose. So now if I close that and I compose again, and if I go to my options down here, and if I go to my templates, and if I choose this one, the one that I just created, then you'll see that it pops up there, and it's gonna duplicate my signature, but I can just erase that. And there we go. My template is there. I can use it. And then you can also print from here. You can check your spelling. You can request a read receipt. And then you can also label the email from there as well as you're about to send it off. And we'll talk about labels in just a moment. So that's how you compose an email. I'm going to close that. And now underneath that, you have your inbox. Now, there are a lot of customization options for your inbox in settings. One of them is the ability to view your mail in different formats. So for example, here, I just chose no split. I can do a vertical split or a horizontal split. The vertical split is the one that makes it look a little more like Google. I'm sorry, a little bit more like Outlook. And yeah, you'll see that it looks a little bit it has that format. So if I click on this email, and then I can see it here on the side. So to turn this pane mode on, we need to go to settings. And when you go to advanced, you'll see the option to enable the preview pane. So go ahead and enable that. And then I also want to mention that when I was showing you guys the templates earlier, you'll see that option only if you have this enabled. So if you were following along and didn't see it, that's because you had it disabled. Go into your settings, go into advanced, and you'll see that you can enable those templates. Once you've done that, then you'll just see them there where I showed you earlier. And then you have other options here. You can enable even multiple inboxes. So just go through those settings and figure out what is best for you and your needs. And then you want to make sure that you save those changes if you make any, and then you can go back to your inbox. All right, so right now I have that the vertical split going on. I went over here after I enabled the preview pane. I went here, and then I can choose from those options. All right, so underneath that, I have the starred label. And the starred label is all of the emails that I choose to star. So when emails come into my inbox, some of the ones that I need to look at right away, I will star. So all you do is just click on that star or unclick on it. When you click on the star, it stars it, and then you can find it in this section here, starred emails. You also have the option to mark emails as important, and those you'll find in this section. And then you also have the ability to snooze emails, and those you will find in this section. So whenever you either mark as important or you star, you snooze, the email doesn't leave your inbox. It stays there, but it also gets moved. Well, it also is visible or viewable in one of these sections. And then you have your sent section there. And then your drafts. And then we move into what are called labels in Gmail. So the reason they're called labels is because they function more as labels rather than folders. So think about when you put something into a folder, you pretty much can only put that one email or that one document in this one folder. With labels, you can actually have this one email or this one folder, and you can label it a lot of different things. And then you just simply put it like in an archive, or you put it in this other big folder where all of your documents and mail live. So with labels, that's how it's going to work in Gmail. So I'll show you, for example, with let's say this one here. Okay, so with this email, I'm going to choose the email. Okay, I have it open there too, but I'm going to choose it here. And when I go up to the top menu, I can go to the label section or the labels option here, click on labels, and then I can label it as. So these are already labels that I have. If you have folders in your Outlook right now, when the transition happens, you're going to see them under all of the labels. So you can choose the label that you want it to go into. And I am going to choose just the test one for now. And I'm going to choose these two actually. So test 678 and test, those are two labels that I just applied to this email. So what happens now, I've labeled it and now it's still in my inbox. It didn't go anywhere. But now when I scroll down and I find that label test and I click on that label, then I can see that email that I just labeled. And you'll notice that I won't see the label that I'm in. Remember when it was in my inbox, it also said test. So because I'm in that label right now, it won't show me that one, but it will show me that it's also in my inbox and it's also in test 678. So then if I go to test 678, there it is. It's not showing me this label because I'm already in it, but it'll show me the other labels that the email has. All right, so now if I want it to leave my inbox, what I need to do is click on it and then archive it. So I can see the archive option here, or I can see the archive option here. I can also drag and drop the email. So I just grab it and I can drop it into one of the labels. So, for example, let's say I wanted this one to also be in webinars. I can drag and drop it there. Okay, so now the conversation or this email was moved to webinars. There it is. But it's still also under those other two labels, but it's also now under webinars as well. So it's labeled all of those different things. So you can either choose it, you can go up to labels and then choose the labels that you want, or you can just simply drag and drop it into a label. But just know that when you do drag and drop it into a label, it's going to disappear from your inbox. See, I don't see it anymore. Okay, so where does it go if it's not in your inbox? So it lives, or you can find it in your labels, but all of your mail, if you don't delete it, lives in you have to scroll all the way down to find the all mail section. So if you click on that, that is where you will find all of your mail. And if I look for that email that I got from the benefits department, you'll see that it's right there. So it's in my mail, but it's also in test 678 and a webinar. So archiving it is like you're just putting it into this like big archive that you have. With Gmail, you don't have to delete your mail because there really is no limitation on the amount of mail that you can have. With us having the G Suite for Education accounts, we pretty much have unlimited storage. So I wouldn't worry too much about having to delete your email because you're going to run out of space. It's not going to be an issue. Of course, you want to keep things organized, but do know that you can archive your mail in your all mail. So I'll show you another way to work with this. If you're in your inbox, and let's say I often do this with like work orders that I get. So I'm just going to use this one as an example. This is not technically a work order, but so I'm just using this email as an example to show you how to archive. So let's say this needs to be labeled updates, and it can also be labeled BrainPop. So I'm going to apply those two labels. Okay, so I can see that label there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to archive it because I'm ready for it to just move out of my inbox. So archive, good. Now, if I go to all mail, that is where I will find all of my archived emails. So you'll see like my updates are somewhere around there. I don't know where they went. Well, I don't know where they're at. So it's like an older email, but it should be in there. There we go. Okay, so you see now it was moved into my archive mail. And then if you ever do want to search your archive mail, you can search for it up here. So I would say like G Suite updates. And now it will search all of my emails and give me all of the emails that have that those words in them. Okay, and then underneath that, you also have the section for your scheduled emails. Remember, I showed you how to do that. You have the ability to look at your spam section. And now you can mark emails as spam, but Google and the settings that we have in place will also determine and kind of catch the emails that are like the spammy emails. And then you also have trash, and then you have some other categories here. And then you can manage labels from down here and also create a new label. So your categories are ways of kind of filtering your inbox. So you'll notice that if I go to my inbox, I have these sections up here, like my social media emails that I get, or my promotion emails that I get from like companies that we work with, or like companies that I'm subscribed to. So that's that. Okay, so now underneath your labels, oh, before I move on from labels, actually, just know that when you hover over a label, you can go to those three dots there and you have some options here. So you can manage it from here as well. You can choose whether you want to hide or show that label. If you want to edit that label, rename it, remove it, add a sub-label underneath it. And then from here, you can also label you can label a color. You can label the label a color. I don't know what, that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. You can just put a color on your label. That's how I'm going to say it. All right, so I chose that color. And there we go. So now when I label something with Amplify, instead of it being like grayed out, it's just going to look purple there. So I can see the label colors on that, on the email as well. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to share with you about labels. And then underneath that, you have the ability to use chat. So as staff members, we have that open to us, and you can click on this plus button to start a new conversation with someone. You can enter the name of the person that you want to start that conversation with. I'm going to choose Mr. Brown. And then I'm going to say, hi there. I'm in my webinar right now. And then I just send a message and it lets them know. I can also start a video call from here. I can create a Hangout group with this contact, and then I can start a call as well. And then all of the chat messages are stored in your chat section. So if you ever need to go back to something that you accidentally close out of, you'll see your chats there. And then you will also see that if you hover over a conversation, you can see those three dots and you can archive or delete the conversation. If you archive it, you will also see it in your chat section there. If you delete it, then you just delete the conversation. Okay, and then I can close out of that, and then it'll be there. And if he sends me a message back, then I will be notified up here. It will say something like Sean Brown says, and I'll know that I have a chat that's waiting for me. So this is really useful when you're collaborating a lot, when you want to send quick little messages without having to write out an email, or if you have a quick question that you need answered from one of your teammates or collaborators, and you can quickly ask them something, then get back to your workflow and writing your emails. So it's just a really neat tool to have. I often use it. And on the top part, I showed you some of this already, but you do have your archive, your spam. You can report spam from here. So I don't want to choose that. But I don't want to report anything spam right now, but if I were to get an email, I would be able to choose it and click on this and report it as spam. And then Google will know that it should put that in the spam section and not in my inbox. And then I can delete emails from here as well. I can mark emails as unread. I can snooze from up here. I can move emails to different labels, to spam, to trash. And then up here, I can label some of those emails or any email that I choose. And then I have some more options up here. I can even create an event out of one of my emails. I can mute emails, and then I can even filter messages from there. So there's a lot of options. And then from here, you'll see that I have a very full inbox. I need to go through that at some point. But you can go through your inbox emails by clicking on those arrows. And this is what I showed you earlier. It's the preview pane. And then here are your settings. And then you have the ability here to change your theme. You can get some help with Gmail if you need to there. This is not going to contact us, but this is like just the Gmail forums and information about Gmail. And then you can choose the display density there. You can configure your inbox settings. So yeah, you can choose the tabs that you want enabled. All right, and then on the right-hand side, you have the ability to access your calendar right from your inbox. So again, if you're like looking through your emails and someone emails you and they're asking you if you're available tomorrow. So what you'll do is you're going to open your little mail icon there and then check on tomorrow. And yes, I'm available because it's Saturday, but say it was Monday, then yeah, I would say I'm available from 2 to 4. So you can check your schedule from there, and then you can even open up your calendar in a new tab if you want to just go into your entire calendar. So that's pretty cool. And then you have the ability to write keep notes from your inbox as well. And this is good for like creating to-do lists or any other notes that you need to have handy that you want to be able to open up quickly when you're in your mail. And, you know, just think of the possibilities of how you could use this to take notes. And then you have the tasks right below that. And here you can add a task for yourself. For example, here I created, where was it? Okay, so here I created an event, a task for myself that actually I put into a calendar. So for example, I'm going to add a task and I need to follow up with webinar participants. Okay, and I'm going to edit that and I'm going to add a date and a time. I'm going to say I need to follow up with them later today and it's going to be at 3 p.m. and I don't need it to repeat. And then I'm just going to click OK. And now, and as you notice here, you can add subtasks as well. But now when I go to my calendar and I click on my tasks calendar, I will be able to see this task that I set up for myself. And then I can set up notifications. So that's pretty cool. And then when I have completed it, I just mark it complete and it goes away. So that's a good way to keep track of things for yourself. And then down here, you have some add-ons. Asana is like a project management add-on. So if you're interested in using that, just go ahead and click on it and explore it. Or if you have any questions, you can contact us. But you can also get other add-ons by clicking on that plus button and searching up add-ons. If you have questions about any add-ons that you cannot add on, that's probably because we blocked them. But you know, if it's something that you want to use, then you can contact us about it and we'll figure something out, or we'll let you know if we can or can't unblock it. All right, so that's pretty much it in Mail. If you have any questions, again, about other like specific, oh, let's see. Hi, Samantha. Just let me know if you do have any questions at any point. So
hi, thank you.
Oh, what I was saying is that if you do have any questions about other like specific tasks or settings in Gmail, then go ahead and check out those resources. You can also contact me and I can guide you through anything that you may be struggling with. All right, so there are a lot of questions that come up about how you like manage your contacts and how you email people and everything in Gmail. So I want to touch on some of that before I move on to calendar. When you're composing, when you're writing an email or when you're replying to someone, whatever the situation happens to be, when you click on to, it's going to open up a list of contacts. And with this domain, now you'll see that you're going to be able to see students as well as all of staff. And then right now I have some of the K-12 contacts in here, but you will not see your K-12 contacts or at RUSDLearns.net contacts. It's just all going to be at riversideunified.org. But from here, you can search contacts. So let's see, I'm going to search for my supervisor. Okay, I'm going to gives me his emails there. I can also search underscore groups. So like I can do secretaries, for example, and it will show me some underscore groups there. And then I can choose to email one of them. Don't, for now, like if you still see the rusd.k12 groups, do not email those. They're not going to work. You need to use the app rusdlearns.net for now. And then when the transition happens, it's just all going to be at riversideunified.org. But here you can search if you have some labels created in your contacts, you can search that. You can search all contacts, you can search the directory. As you can see here, I'm going to search, let's see, Naomi, and then it will bring up all the Naomis, and that's going to include students. So just be aware of that now we are sharing this with students. But another way to get to your contacts, I'm going to close this out, is by going to contacts.google.com. You can also get to your contacts by going to your apps and then going to your contacts. If you don't see it in like the first section of your apps, then go to more and you should see it down there. And you can always move your apps. You can like drag and drop them wherever is most convenient for you in your apps window. All right, so I'm in Google Contacts. Now I can go to frequently contacted and you'll see there, that's my list. I can see all of my contacts here. As you can see, it includes staff members as well as some students. So how can you tell if it's a student or if it's a staff member? So let's see, for example, with the name Naomi, I'm going to see some students here. And the way I know that they're students is it's going to have their first name, their last name, and the last 3 digits of their student ID. So staff members don't have those last 3 digits of an ID. It's just first name, initial, and then the last name, and then the domain. So that's how you can differentiate. And then here's a directory, and that's where you'll see all of the students listed as well. If you go to your personal contacts, then you can see those as well. Now, if you, for example, email someone, they will usually just appear here under your contacts. You don't have to like manually add them or anything, but you can star contacts, you can edit contacts, and then you can also label them. So you can add them to different labels, and the labels here operate as groups would. So you can add, so for example, I go to my quick tip list. This is one of my labels. And then I have all of the contacts that I email when I send out a quick tip. They're all in here. So I'll show you how that works. So if I'm in my inbox, I'm creating a new email. Let's just pretend this is my quick tip email, and I'm sending it to my quick tip list. Oops. So that label will come up, which is like a contact group. And then if I click on it, it's going to bring in all of those emails that are part of that group. Now, do know that Gmail doesn't allow like mass emailing. Like it wouldn't allow me to send all of these at the same time. So just know that like small groups is okay, just not mass emailing. At least for now, that might be different once the transition happens. We're still trying to figure that out. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You can import contacts. Like for example, my quick tip list. I had all of these contacts in a sheet, in a CSV file. So I was able to import that CSV file and then create a label and just put all of those contacts in there. All right, any questions about chat or Google Contacts? I don't see any questions in the chat. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to Calendar. So to get to Calendar, again, you can go to your apps and go to Calendar, or you can open up a new tab and go to calendar.google.com. And then you'll see your calendar there. Okay, so one of the first things that I want to mention about Gmail, or I'm sorry, about Calendar, is that, sorry, didn't mean to do that. So you have, like, this is your general calendar. You can change the view. You can do day view up here. You can change it to week, month, year, 4 days. I usually like to keep it at month. And so this is kind of like your blank canvas for all of the calendars that you are going to create, that are yours, that you have access to, that are shared with you. So I'll show you. You have your create button there. That's where you can create new events, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But here you have your month view, and you can switch through the different months there. Then underneath that, you have your calendars. So these are all calendars that you have access to. They don't necessarily all belong to you. So you'll have to know which ones belong to you, which ones have been shared with you, and which ones you're a collaborator on. And so to view one of the calendars, for example, this is my calendar. I can check this box, and now everything that I have on my calendar will appear on this section of my calendar. So let's say that I want to look at Brooke's calendar as well, one of the administrative secretaries. So now I can see everything that's in her calendar, and this is because she's shared her calendar with me. She's given me access to view it. But when I no longer need to look at hers anymore, then I can just switch it off. So the same with any of the other calendars that I have here. This is the tasks calendar that I was referring to earlier when I was pointing out to you that you can create tasks in your Gmail. So this function here. So if you go here, and if I make sure that task calendar is clicked on, I can see the task that I created for myself. And remember, I marked it as done. So it's kind of showing up as like a transparent there, because I completed that already, or I marked it as complete under tasks. So if you keep scrolling down, you'll see other calendars. So you'll see all of the calendars that you have access to. So some of my teammates have shared their calendar with me, and I can just click it on and view their appointments, their schedule, and then go ahead and switch and click it off, and then I won't see it anymore. So if I click on this plus button, I can create a new calendar from there. I can browse the resources. So those are the rooms that I was talking to you about at the beginning of this presentation. So the resources are, right now, we just have these 2 rooms, or these are the ones that I can view anyway. Conference room run, ILE office. So I want to be able to view those. Okay. And then if I want to subscribe to a calendar, I can choose a user to subscribe to. Now, do know that they need to have their settings in place. They may not allow others to see their events. Their access permissions may not allow you to see anything on their calendar. So even if you subscribe, you won't be able to see anything. Same here. Like, you can search for someone. So let's say I'm going to search for Miss Morales. She's a LMA at Rivera. If I choose her, I can see some things that are in her calendar, but I'm going to close that off. Oh, I'm sorry. I searched for her, but I couldn't see anything of hers in this calendar. So that means she doesn't have her access permissions open for me to see anything. So I would suggest you just use this really for searching up people who you already know you have access to. So for example, like my teammate or my supervisor, Mr. Harwood, I already know I have access to his calendar, so I can just type in his name very quickly, and then it will show me his schedule, and then I can figure out a time to meet with him. All right. And then when you go to one of your calendars, if you hover over the calendar, you'll see these 3 dots here. And you'll see that if you click on those 3 dots, you can color code all of the events that appear in that calendar. So I've chosen Radicchio. That color, or I can choose Cherry Blossom, and now all of my events will appear that Cherry Blossom color. I can also go into settings and sharing for this specific calendar. So I'm going to go into that right now to show you some of the settings. So I can rename the calendar. I can export it if I want to. And then here is where you come to the access permissions. So if I would have had make available for Riverside Unified School District checked, and I have see all event details, then if someone does search for me in that subscribe to calendar box, then they'll probably be able to see all of my event details, because I've made my calendar available to anybody in the Riverside Unified School District. So I would recommend just uncheck that, and then just share with specific people. But if you do have a calendar that is okay, it is okay to be accessed by anyone. Like if you need other people to be able to access it and just search for it, then by all means, go ahead and turn on that setting. if you need to make a calendar available to the public, like something that you need to put on a website, or a calendar for like a teacher who needs to have it on her site and they need to have it accessible to parents, for example, then you would be able to choose, or I recommend you choose that setting and make it available to the public. But just be aware of your access permissions and what you have on, and what people can see. Just be intentional about it. So for now, I just chose show calendar, and I wanted this to be limited by the access permissions that I have set. So when you choose that, that's okay. Then you can share with specific people down here. So I've chosen to just share my calendar with these 3 individuals, and they can see all of my event details. Trust them, they're my teammates, so they can look at whatever I have on there. If I want more people to be able to have access to it, like Miss Brooke, then I can go ahead and send. And now I have her set to see all event details. Now I do have some options here. I can maybe just choose for that person just to see my free and busy time, like if they just need to be able to see when I'm open. If I want them to be able to see my event details, where I'm going, what I'm doing, what time. If I want someone to make changes to events, like if we're collaborating on a calendar and I need them to be able to edit events, then that would be good to turn on. And then if I need someone, for example, to manage my calendar, then I would allow them to make changes and manage sharing in the calendar as well, not just to events. Okay, so that is the sharing portion for your calendar. And then you have the ability to set up notifications for that calendar, and you can integrate that calendar. You can put it on a public, like on a website. You can choose that public URL, you copy that and put it on a website. Do know that if you do that, you need to make sure that one of these is on so that others can view it. And then down here, you have the option to delete the calendar. So be aware that you can also like unsubscribe to people's calendars. This doesn't mean that it deletes the calendar, but it just unsubscribes you from it. You will no longer have access to view it. So let's just say I wanted to not see a Brooke's calendar anymore because, I don't know, maybe I don't work with her anymore. I don't need to see it. So then I would just simply click the X and unsubscribe, and that'll disappear. All right, and then I just want to point out that you do also have access to your Keep Notes here, and you also have access to creating tasks from here. And then you can also get some more add-ons if you click on that plus button. So now, when it comes to creating events, I'm just going to double check on the chat and make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, we're good. So if you do want to create an event, you can just click on the Create button, and you'll get a window, and that window will pop up on the date that it is. So the current date. And if you do need to change that, though, you can always change it here. I actually wanted it for let's just say the 13th. And this is going to be a test event for webinar. And then I want it to be from 10:30 to 11:30. And then this is the end date, November 13th. And then I can add guests from here. So I'm going to add Mr. Brown as a guest. I can see his availability if he's given me permission to do that. And it looks like, yes, he is actually available. So, okay, that works. And then I can add a room here. Let's say we're going to have this meeting in the ILE office. And here I can choose whether I can see available rooms only or if I want to include unavailable rooms, but I just want to see the available rooms, so I chose that one. All right, I'm going to go back. So do I want to add conferencing? I can, and it will generate a Google Meet link. So my guest will be able to see this link when they accept the event, and they will be able to just click on it and it will take them to our Google Hangouts Meet. So that's really neat. And then down here, I can write a message, I can insert links, and then I have my formatting options there. All right, so, and then more options here. It will open up a big window, and now I have the ability to see more options. So I can set notifications for this event. I can set up repeating events if I wanted to. I can customize the repetition for it. And then down here, this is how it will show up in my calendar. And I want it to show up as busy. And default visibility is just going to go with whatever settings I have in place currently. Or if I need it to be something private, it will hide all of the event details from anyone who has access to the calendar, unless they have the make changes to events or higher level access. Okay, but right now I just want the default visibility. And if I wanted to, I would be able to just color code this specific event. So remember, I color coded my calendar cherry blossom, but for this specific event, I can choose like purple or grape. Okay, so now I'm ready to save this event. And then, yes, I would like to send an invitation via email to the calendar guests. All right, so now we have it here. So as you can see, this is my calendar, but this is purple. And if I click on it, I can see some of the details here. I can see that there's going to be 2 guests, and I'm still waiting on a response from Mr. Brown. When he does respond and he does accept, it's going to show me a green check mark by his name. And then as you notice, if I hover over his name, it's going to give me his information, his title, his extension, his email. So I can email him from there as well. I can send a message to him through chat or start a video call. I can even add him to contacts from there. So there's a lot of really neat features. And then here I'm marked as going yes. And then I can add notes for myself there too. So one thing that I do want to point out is that you can also just click on a date and the event creation window will pop up, and then you can choose, you can make an out of office notice. This is not the same as the out of office in Gmail. What this is going to do is it's just going to operate in Calendar, and it's going to automatically decline any events that someone tries to schedule with you on that date. And you can edit your message for the out of office, and then you can choose the visibility for that out of office event. You can choose a date and the times there, and then you can choose what calendar you want it to go in. And then you can also create a task. To be able to see this task option, you need to make sure that your task calendar is visible. Otherwise, like I'm gonna unclick this right now, and if I click on this date again, you'll notice that now that tasks option is no longer there. So make sure that it's on, and then you'll be able to create a task. You can also create an appointment slot, and appointment slots other people can book. So I'll show you how that works. So for example, maybe I want to create an appointment slot for I don't know, people to come over to my work area, and we need to update their device, and I need to walk them through that. So update your device, appointment slots. Okay, and the appointments are going to start on November 12th, and they are going to start at 8 a.m. and they're going to go until November 12th. Maybe let's do 4 p.m. Okay. So that's the time range for the appointment slots, and each appointment only needs to be about 30 minutes. And this appointment slot is going to go in my calendar, and then I'm going to save that. Okay, so now I have these appointment slots here. I can share this appointment page with others. I can go to it myself. So if I click on it, it takes me to this page, and it will also take my guests to this page if I add guests to the appointment, to that appointment event. So here you can see that they can choose from any of these 30-minute slots. So let's say I'm going to choose this one from 10 a.m. to 10:30, and I'll be there, and I'll bring my Chromebook. Okay, and then save. Okay, so now somebody booked, or I booked an appointment with myself, but a guest can do this as well. Or anybody that you share the link with that has at rusdlearns.net email address. Or in the future, it's going to be that at our riversideunified.org address. Oh my gosh, so many emails to remember. Okay, so all right, the appointment is booked. So now if I go to the calendar and I go to the date, I can see that appointment that was booked from 10 to 10:30 a.m. by Sylvia, Yino, and Diego. If it's somebody else, it will say their name there. I can go here and edit the appointment, and I can add guests here. So let's say I want my supervisor and maybe Mr. John Brown. So I want them to be able to book appointments too. So I'm going to add them as guests, and then I'm going to save. Don't send invitations right now. But now when they come to this event here, they can go to the appointment page and do the same thing that I did. All right, so that's that. And then do know that you have your settings up here for like the whole calendar, not just specific calendars. And you can access those settings by going there. And you have a few options there. You can do event like default event settings, view options. You can set your working hours there. Yeah, you can set your location. And then if you do want to get into the settings of a specific calendar, then you would just click on that calendar and then look at your settings there. And you can go back. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Google Calendar, unless there are any questions in the chat, which I don't see any. Before I go, I do want to mention one thing that I forgot to show you. When you go to your settings in Gmail, you'll see that under General, you have a lot of customization options. At the very bottom is where you will find your ability to create, or where you will find the option, not your ability, but the option to create your signature. And then down here is where you have your vacation responder or out of office for Gmail. So this is something separate from the calendar. This is what is going to be sent out to people who try to email you while you're out of the office or on vacation or whatever it is. So that's where you'll find that. And now going back to the presentation, I do want to make you guys aware of the fact that at the end of each of the sections, so at the end of the Gmail section, at the end of the calendar section, you'll see the slide that has a lot of useful links. So if you want to know more about how-tos with Gmail, you can click on any of these links, and then you'll see that you'll find the calendar links towards the bottom of the presentation as well. So I hope this was useful to you. I know it was just kind of a general overview, but we really want to empower you guys to use the resources that are available for you and all of the how-tos and all of these links, and just kind of dive in and get familiar with it. But if you do encounter any issues or need help with troubleshooting, please contact us. Or if you have any questions and that's easier for you to contact us, and by all means do so. You can contact me also at this email address and at this extension. This is our helpline. This is like my personal extension and my email. So either one works. You'll get a hold of somebody at either one. And if you are watching this webinar at some point and do want to fill out a feedback form, then please click here, and it's going to take you to that feedback form. And just answer the questions as they apply to you. We use this feedback form for a range of trainings. So if it says like, can you apply this to your classroom? Then, if you're a teacher, then that would apply to you. If you are someone that works like in an office setting, then just apply it like to the office setting, or just interpret the question as it would apply to your situation. And then just answer to your best ability, and provide that feedback that's really useful to us as we're improving the delivery of these webinars and these trainings. So thank you, and of course, feel free to reach out with any other questions you may have.